Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey for the last several years. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, a.k.a. Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro you just heard. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, big thanks to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind our logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the Halloween and horror genre, but does amazing commission pieces of any sort. So tonight, my compadre, Wayne Mallows, joins us, and we're going to be talking about, so it's an open discussion, of course. We're going to be talking about the incredible world of animals. We're going to look at intuition and mysticism and animals in the spirit realm, their role in healing, rescuing, as guardians, so much around nature that is just so amazing. And this is going to be a part one, by the way, because next week we're going to be doing a part two, which is going to get into more, folklorish stuff and totems and all kinds of different things. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's get the party started. Wayne, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right. Hey,
You're still freezing a little bit there, eh?
Am I freezing up again?
Yeah, just a little bit here and there. The video's not doing its thing.
I don't know why. I've been fine. It's the second show of my night.
Yeah, first show was fine. I don't know. I just noticed that the voice is fine, but the video is freezing.
I have no explanation.
I got nothing.
Because, it's just technology. Maybe there's a storm rolling in.
Maybe it's having my persona on the air and they don't like that.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
Left and light.
I'd be the forsaken one, you know that.
Sure. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. You know it'd be true.
Whatever. So you're freezing up too every now and then, just so you know. So it's not just me.
Got nothing. I don't know what to say.
You are up there. I know. So tonight, we're going to talk about animals because, we love animals. We've all had like pretty amazing experiences with some animals. And what I find interesting is how, we'll talk about Pixie in a moment, but how animals sometimes choose their owners. They, we don't always choose them. They sometimes choose their owners. And with that being said, I was watching some videos recently where this new thing that people are doing, at least new for what I've seen, is they'll, have an event day, let's say at a rescue or a humane society, that kind of thing. And they bring people in, anybody who wants to adopt pets. And these are like full rooms of people, and they will let the animals out one at a time. So I've seen it both with dogs and cats. Dogs especially, they really do it a lot with dogs. And the dogs just roam around the room and they go to their person. Like they're just drawn by the energy or the vibes. And they basically go right up to the person and they jump up on them and love them. And it's very interesting to watch. and you and I have
That's
talked about
definitely
that.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a new thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I think it's wonderful. I wonder how it goes when they bring their pets home. I would imagine okay, because they're choosing their person,
I always think
right?
about being picked last for baseball. Like, imagine if you've got 10 dogs in there and they're all eyeing up couple number 4. And let the first
Yeah.
dog out and it runs over and snags couple number 4, and all the other 9 dogs go, "Oh, that was my person."
Well, they all have a chance. I'm just saying. Rochelle says, I saw a bunch of videos lately, random people with strange cat or dog snuggling up on them out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well, they're
think,
drawn to your energy, right?
yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, people start crying. It's really sweet. She goes, I have a dog that imitates my last dog who passed away. I figured he must be teaching her. Maybe.
We got one. We got one of those.
12. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do.
Uh, but I think with Pixie, Pixie, was a little Chihuahua. And my daughter used to be involved with different rescues, and she said, can you foster Pixie? Because I had Chihuahuas, and at the time I thought, you know what, it would be great. And they taught her a lot of things because she came from California. She was, probably a puppy mill dog or a shelter dog in a high kill shelter, and she just looked so defeated, poor little thing. It was such a long drive for her, and, essentially came to us literally right from the drive, and,
Yeah.
you know, my Chi-Chi started teaching her things right away. She did not know how to drink, properly out of a bowl. She did not know you could get excited at food time. She just sat there and she watched the other dogs. I'm like, "Yeah, get excited. This is fun time." And she started learning. But when Wayne came in, she freaking loved Wayne. Oh my God. This dog would dart around, do her zoomies, and run right up. Wayne would sit with his legs stretched out, run right up his legs, just sit right onto his lap, and he'd just cradle her. So I think she chose you.
Yeah, I think as well. Absolutely. It was wild because she had a hard go. She had a really hard life. I felt for her. She had a really good first year, and then after that, she had medical problems, one after the other, after the other, after the other, and then she finally had a stroke that took her sight and partially paralyzed her, and then she had a second stroke after that, which totally did her in.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that I was there to be her caregiver. And then we talked to a pet person, and they said, no, actually, she came a long way just for your journey. Oh, of course, that
Yeah.
made me cry.
Yeah. It was really a sad story because she was, under a year old
Yeah.
when she came to me as a foster, and she was never meant to keep. And Wayne would be just like, "Oh, she's working so hard. Just look at her work so hard." And I'm like, "Oh, I know where this is going." and, and
Yeah,
you
it
know
was me.
what? Yeah. So, he adopted her, and after everything happened with her health, it was really sad. But I've never seen a little dog fight so hard, and she would be skin and bones. I was syringe feeding her food for at least a good 5 to 6 months. And I remember just saying to her, I said, "You fight, I fight. You fight, I fight." And after a while, she became such a little Hercule with the food. She
She
just
was a
got
tank.
she's true.
Yeah.
She got so strong, and she just kept working so hard. And the fighting spirit in that dog was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You, you
It
know,
was. Her shoulders were huge because she couldn't use her back legs, but her shoulders and front arms are just, so it looks like she hit the gym every night. It was unbelievable to see how big she was across her shoulders and solid. Not an ounce of fat on that dog.
No, it's true. It's true. In fact, when we first got her, she was pretty burly dog, and we used to call her Baby Huey because she'd come running out of nowhere, and the other dogs would brace themselves. And my one little PETA, she was like a tiny little sausage thing about this big, and Pixie would roll rolled her one time, and Pete just rolled. She just got underneath, and Muffin, our other chihuahua, was just sort of like bracing herself to hide when she heard that galloping. So
she'd dive under the cupboards to dodge the freight train that was coming through the kitchen.
yeah, it was funny. It was funny. She was just so
A gem.
yeah, she
Just
was
a real gem.
Yeah, and then last year, you know, you had to make that decision
Now,
because
we
she was
always talked to
tired.
her. Yeah,
Yeah.
we always told her, like, as you said, if you fight, we fight. But I always would talk to her at feeding time. I would hold her and cuddle her during feeding time. And I would say, like, if it gets too much and you've had enough, you just tell me. I'll know it's you. You just let me know. And one day I was driving and she wasn't with me. I was just driving home. And I heard this female voice say really quietly, "Dad, I'm tired. I got to go home."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, I know it's you. We'll sort it out when I get home." And we did.
Yeah.
So
And it's true. And she,
that was hard to hear that, really hard.
yeah. But you knew she was tired. She was winding down in her eating. She was winding down, and because even though she couldn't see and she was limited, in the way she moved around, she tumbled around pretty good. But it got to that, and it got to that point where it was food time and she just wasn't excited anymore. And it was just like dropping her head. Like she just couldn't. And and it was interesting because when you saw that pet psychic who basically gave you that message, it made so much sense though. And the bond that you both had.
Well, it was funny because we met a gentleman at one of the fairs we went to, Scottish Fair, and it was just a fun read. People can't read me, so I always go in there to sit down, and I usually get the "I can't read you," which he sat down and he said, "I'm sorry, I can't read you. You got a wall around you or something. Someone's protecting you." But he goes, your daughter comes through loud and clear. My daughter.
I know.
What are you talking about, right? He goes, "Oh yeah, it's a little blonde girl. she just loves you." I'm like, that's not a blonde girl. That's my little dog, Pixie, and yeah, she does.
Yeah, it's true.
That was pretty wild. That was pretty funny that they picked up on that.
It's true. Melissa's right. She found you. They adopt us. Melissa is affiliated with different rescues as well. So, taken in many fosters. And it takes a special person to do that because I'll tell you something, you can't give them up. It's so hard to give them up. And I know sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
But it's just like I remember saying to my daughter, "I don't think I can ever do it again because I just have too many chihuahuas." And but I do think they get like the ones that I have had through the years, I've kept them all, and I paid handsomely for some of them because I knew they were just in a bad situation, and I would get them and just bring them out of their shell slowly. Like our white Chihuahua Muffin, I could not touch that dog for 9 months. She was a breeder dog, and she just wasn't having it. The night I brought her home, she freaked out, and my chocolate Chihuahua PETA, who basically went after her, and I put her back. I said no, and she just looked so defeated trying to protect me, but I didn't want her to get hurt because Muffin just wasn't right. Like her owner drugged her.
Oh yeah.
It made her look docile, and when that wore off, that dog was in shock. But loved the guys in the house, just wanted nothing to do with me for 9 months. I was resilient, but it was pretty funny though.
Tasmanian devil in a white Chihuahua body. It was wild.
Yeah. So you're frozen again. Yeah, you're frozen again.
Yeah, but, so are you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a crazy internet. But yeah, it was you go on journeys with them, and so many pets, that rescued, and parrots and cats and dogs, and I've gone from Siberian Huskies, German Shepherds to Chihuahuas. And I never thought I would love such a little dog, but they have such huge spirits. It's unbelievable. You don't see us freezing. Okay, that's good. So we'll just keep talking.
Yeah, well, it's the voices are fine. It's just that I noticed the video on both sides like glitches, but
it
the
might be for
speaking
us because
doesn't
we're under the same roof.
yeah, quite possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
I want to just say something quick about like animals reading energy because I had an experience one time a lot of years ago. Like I work nights and I would come home quite late and a long drive and it was winter and I was coming up the back road and the OPP, the police were out and the lights were all on and I'm like, oh well, here we go. And they stopped everybody and like I asked the guy, what's going on? He goes, we got a deer with his antlers caught in the fence, like the fence alongside the road. And it was just a farmer's field. It wasn't like a chain link thing. It was just a big open fence. And I'm like, can I go talk to it? And he looked at me like I had two heads. Like, well, it's going to kill you. I'm like, it won't kill me. Let me just go. If you will let me go and talk to it, I will go talk to it. And I had all my tools in the truck and I just went and got a pair of wire cutters and I went over and it was pulling and pulling and pulling. And I got up to it and I was just like, hi, are you stuck? Do you need help? Like really softly, just like that. I can help you, but you can't hurt me, okay? And it just kind of went like, it just stopped. And I cut all the fence around it. And I go, there you go, you're done. And it kind of lifted its head slow and realized it wasn't stuck. Boom, it was gone backwards. It went the other way, away from me, thankfully.
Yeah.
That was kind of an idiot move, but they were going to put it down. They were going to shoot it. And I said, oh, I can't, not over that. No. So
Yeah.
that was fortunate, really fortunate.
Yeah. It's, you know what? Their animals are they're so incredible. And
They know.
they do know. It reminded me of a movie that I watched called The Horse Whisperer. And you guys might remember it with Robert Redford, where this teenage girl and her horse were hit by a transport. The horse bucked upwards trying to protect her from this truck that hit them both. She ended up paralyzed. She couldn't walk, and the horse was traumatized also. And they went through. He saved the girl's life, so the family just put a boatload of money into getting him sorted and fixed and surgeries and and they were terrified. She was terrified of the horse at that point, and she didn't know how to get up on him anymore because she couldn't walk, right? So Robert Redford comes in as this horse whisperer, and you're just watching, and it was based on a true story, which is why I really loved it. And you saw the whole transitioning happening, not just with the horse, but the connection he had with his owner, this young girl. So he trained the horse would lay down onto its side and it would just lay there. And she would, get off of her wheelchair and he showed her how to mount the horse and the horse would then get up and they just started. It was such an incredible show. And I know of so many people who work with different animals, and some of them do work with horses. They're very therapeutic for people as well. It was just an incredible, incredible show. I just loved it. And it made me realize that, in the animal kingdom, like they know, they understand, they read your energy.
Oh, a mile away. Dogs can hear you coming a mile away. Horses are even more intuitive. They know if they can monkey with you or not. They know what your intentions are. They totally get it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%. It's just so true.
Look at that horse at that
yeah.
riding place we went. That horse was so connected to you when you went in there. Holy mackerel. You could talk that horse and it would move its head up and down, yes and no. And it would move its hoof up and down and answering you exactly what I was just like, this is for real. Like this horse is like talking to you. It's unbelievable.
I'm pretty sure we've got some of that on film. The story is we were filming this series, and we were at a ranch, and this place was haunted, and it was picked up that the riding arena had activity. So I looked at the horse and I said, "Do you see things in there?" Honest to bloody gosh, this horse it basically comes down like this, puts one foot forward and starts going like this. I'm like, did I just see that right?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we're going to go with it. As I started
Yeah.
asking a series of questions, when it was a no answer, it would just start going like this, like no. When it was a yes, it would do the same stance and go like this. Then I started moving around to the other side of the stall and it just followed me around. And the whole time we were filming, it just sat there like very close to me. We finally just put the table where we had to sit in front of the stall with the horse. And the horse was just like right there. It was amazing. Just
It was
amazing.
that was unbelievable. Like the energy transference you two had going on between that horse. And the guy said, I cannot get this horse to go out into the riding arena at all. It just freaks out. And
Yeah.
after you spoke to it and said, you want me to deal with what's out there? And it nodded, and you went and did your witchy magic that you do.
Mm.
And you came back and you said to the horse, you feel better? And it nodded. And the owner took the horse out and they walked it around the arena. And says, that horse hasn't been in the arena in months.
No.
So it totally knew something was going on, and you fixed it.
Ah, well, hopefully it stayed that way, but there
I
was
hope
just
so.
a lot of crazy stuff. This property also had, speaking of, high strangeness, you hear stories of the large black cats that are found in some areas. This farm, this ranch had an incident with a large black cat. And I thought, okay, there used to be, a zoo in the area and there's like a safari, um, thing in the area. I was like, oh, maybe it just escaped. But the forestry people actually monitor these large cats. Like there's more than one. And they look for scat, they look for bones, they look for like patterns and trails. And so this is documented. And they had an article in the paper because there had been sightings. Anyway, one of these large black cats, which is almost like a panther, essentially, went onto the property when there was a foal, so just like a baby horse that was out, and a mare sacrificed herself to save the foal. And when we were in, do you remember, Wayne, when we were in the stalls area, the one stall we
Yeah.
saw with the giant claw marks down?
Yeah, that was on the outside of the doors to where the stalls
Yeah,
were. There was just massive claw marks in the door
crazy.
frames trying to get in. It was wicked looking. Never seen nothing like it.
Oh yeah. It was just insane. It was so, so sad. But it was just like, okay, like it's just the stuff that's out there, and we'll get more into cryptid stuff like next week and stuff. But it was just really, really amazing the
Mhm.
connections that these animals faced. And there was a beautiful like black like a stallion over there, and it was sick, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. Do you remember that beautiful
Yeah,
black
I was
like
at the
big
end. They were trying
stallion?
everything. They was on medication. It just wasn't responding to anything. And then he
No.
contacted you like a week later and said, "You know that horse? He's complete recovery. Like he's perfectly okay again. We don't. What did you do?" I was like, just I don't know. Michelle
I
changed
know.
the energy in the whole place, and bad things went away.
Yeah. Craziness. Just craziness. But yeah, so I know it just animals are very affected by energies and frequencies. Like, vibes are not good, then when people message me, for example, well, I think the house is haunted. Says, do you have a pet? Yes,
Mm,
follow their lead because they will
good.
react. They will react to it. In fact, like really malevolent things don't like cats.
No,
What's up with that?
no. Cats will take on anything. They're fearless.
It's
They
true.
are fearless. And my son at the old manor house when he was living there, he phoned me one day, absolutely having a meltdown that something was in the house, and he was freaking out. And I'm like, "Where are the cats?" And he's like, "Well, they're asleep on the kitchen." And I'm like, "Well, if there was something going on, like in a really bad way, those cats would be losing their marbles. And if they're just
Mm,
sleeping, there's nothing happening. Just
it's
relax. It's probably just residual energy. You're fine."
it's true. It's true. And cats are just so revered,
Hmm.
like the cats were
Well, that's
really
why they're so
revered in ancient.
saucy now, because they remember when they were kings.
I remember when they
Especially
were
this one right
royalty.
here. This one is behind me right now. Thinks he's
Ours
still a
thinks
king.
it's royalty. Do you hear him chirping?
Oh yeah, he's
Dexter.
chirping.
Yeah.
He's chirping.
Cats will confront bears, alligators. Oh yeah.
They will.
Oh,
They're just
oh, for
fearless.
sure. Oh, for sure. This one
Yeah.
likes to torment the chihuahuas, and they'll just come out, and he just hightails it. He's just gone. Just stirs up the pot a little bit and
He
then
does.
takes off because he doesn't want to be dealing with that.
But
Stir up,
back
get
to
the
energy and
shenanigans. Hmm?
back to energy and stuff, like animals know. I mean, when I was much younger, like I'm talking my 20s, and I was working for a lineman for the phone company, and I
Mhm.
was cutting through a park to get to a set of poles and stuff, and there was a squirrel's mom had got hit by a car. It was
Oh,
flattened, and there was this baby squirrel standing beside it, this flattened carcass, and I I basically whipped by and I scooped it up with my hard hat, brought
yeah.
it into the park and let it go, and it just followed me along.
Mhm.
I was just like, so I stopped and it run up my leg and sat up on my shoulder. And he was only like this big, a tiny little guy, right? And
Oh.
so I took him, put him back down, back up he comes, sat on my shoulder. So I'm like, okay, so I put him in my truck with me and went to the store and I bought a little packet of peanut butter and milk, and I fed him peanut butter and milk off a tiny spoon, and he lived with me for 2 years and totally housebroken.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
80 years ago, yes, exactly, 80 years ago. That's when I was 20.
Yeah. No, I love
Yeah,
that. Animals do gravitate to certain people, and animals
yeah.
really love you. My father was the same. Animals never left my father alone, and no matter where he went, they would just kind of hook up with him. He was walking down the street and follow him along. And I remember being at one of the science centers, and we were there. They had this huge eagle, and it had been injured, so which is why it was at this facility, and it was behind glass. It looked so foul. Anyway, so my father's just standing there, and it's just standing there staring at him. So my father moves to the other side, down the other side of where this enclosure was. Bird just follows down his perch right toward my father and just stares at him. So my father, my father loves his music, so he kept going back and forth. This bird kept following him, and honestly, I've had parrots in my life, loved my father. I've had dogs in my life, loved my father. Cats, love my father. The same with Wayne, except for the bird. The bird doesn't really fancy you.
Bird hates me. Bird
Bird
hates
doesn't.
me. I
Bird is
mimic
a.
the bird, I
She
sing
likes
to the
women
bird, I
though. She's.
talk to the bird, and we have great conversations. Then I walk in and I'm like, hey, and fluffs right up, wings go out, just glares at me. And it's like, oh, I was
Just,
outside. I waved at it through the window because I was cleaning the eaves trough. I'm like, hey, how are you? That bird went ape shit.
she did.
Didn't Not having it.
She was
The
not having
terrible
it.
man is outside. The terrible guy is outside now, and he's trying to get in. I'm not having that. She's
He's trying
funny.
to engage me.
Oh no, the
It's
bird does
because
not like me.
the bird was a rescue, and her original owner was female, and birds will tend to bond to some of the first people in their lives.
Yeah.
So I ended up with her, and then she went to a family member. They're like, well, we really would like the parrots, and I was just like, oh God, be good, because I'm getting you get tired after a while with all the critters, and I had, we had more the facilities for it then as well. And when I sold that property, it had a large aviary at one time, and that was it. So I said, yes, no problem. Birds were spoiled. I knew they would be fine anyway. So this was the last one. And, they were building a house that can you babysit the bird? Well, it's been a couple of years and she's just about ready to go back home. So she has settled in nicely and is fine with me. And she'll dance and she gives me little kisses and she's like, but honestly, Wayne comes near the cage and
Mm-mm.
she just throws herself at the cage or starts smacking her bell around, or she just really wants nothing to do with it.
Which is funny because like I can get the wild birds outside. The wild birds will come and sit on my hand and eat
Sure.
right out of my hand without even trying. And so
Yeah.
like this parrot will come up and she'll give Michelle like a little kiss on the finger, and she goes, ooh, so pretty, right? So I put
Little
my finger
cooing
on the
sounds.
outside of the bar. I put my finger on the outside of the bar and I'm like, hey babies, how's it going? You're so pretty. And she goes like this, just comes up my finger, she goes like that. And then she just squeezes really slow and really hard until the blood started to come out. And then she let go and looked at me and went,
I know. It's like,
Yeah, a
listen.
real slow crush. That was really nice. Yeah, no, that's not
Yeah,
happening anymore.
she wasn't having it. She wasn't having
No,
it. That's for sure,
no, no.
But it's just they bring such joy. I bet people don't realize out there how smart birds are and how cuddly they can actually be. Yana, hello. No, stop it. I do love you. um, um, yeah, birds are super cuddly. I remember caring for this parrot from the time she was literally a hatchling. I had to feed her like, liquid bird food and the whole 9 yards. And oh my gosh. And she became like, you know, like a companion, a pet. I loved her. Drove everybody crazy in the house. But every night that bird had to have cuddle time. And she would lay on her back or she would snuggle in my hair and she would sleep. They are so, so cuddly. And they're just so interactive, but so cuddly. I'm thinking, I can't even get the cat to sit this long. And she would
No.
just lay there for an hour and just have her cuddle time,
Mhm.
you know, just such smart, they're so intelligent. And I know that, let me come back up for a minute. The robin. Okay, here we are. So Cher says, I ended up fostering a baby robin, had it for 18 days. Oh, he ended up passing. It's tough when they're
Oh,
babies.
it's
And you
hard.
do fall in love with them. Absolutely.
You
But I'll
do.
tell you, I met a baby robin one time because again, I ended up with this wild African gray that came into my possession. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I would often have like through the Humane Society, people just want to give up birds and or lost birds and I had the facility to take care of them. But I had to go and bring this wild gray because now he's been in captivity. So the woman who I went to see, she would train birds no matter how wild they were. She could train them to ride little bicycles and just do crazy things, talk. Sorry, I'm taking in air because I'm about ready to laugh. So I'm over there one day to go and check up on this bird's progress. And all of a sudden I hear, hello. I'm looking around. I don't see any parrots. I was like, and I hear, hello again. I'm like, hell, I'm losing my mind. And I looked down in a cage was this tiny little baby robin. It just had all of its feathers, except it was bald on its head. So she came down and I'm just like, she goes, oh, is he talking to you? I'm like, that bird is talking to me. And I said, what? It has no feathers on its head. She goes, no, its little nest mates plucked all the feathers off its head. It got traumatized. It fell out of a nest. So
Oh,
she rehabilitated it and it could speak. But any bird could speak. They don't have voice boxes. So she goes, oh, I trained him to speak in a week. I'm just like, this tiny little hello, all frustrated with me. And I'm like, wow,
that's
then
funny.
who knew? Right. So Yana, my parrot followed me everywhere like a puppy, getting mad at me if I left it in the cage while I drink coffee in the morning. If he could talk, I will buy it and sell you. I'm a handsome man.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love it.
look at my sister out down near Sarnia way, right? She's got that big property, and she's trained the crows to come and eat.
Yeah.
She got the forest all around her, but she's
Yeah.
smart. She only goes out. She wears this red hoodie or this red raincoat when
Mhm.
it's feeding time. So when they see the red raincoat on, they all come. And they know it's food time and they tell the babies and all the babies now they all come. It's been like years and years of this, but
Yeah.
she can go out during the day and just any other clothing she can wear and they don't come around, so she doesn't get bothered all the time. It's only when she's got the red coat on they know, okay, it's feeding time. I think that's lovely.
I think that they're again so brilliant. One of the best talking birds in the world is a myna bird, and crows and ravens are exceptional talkers, and you'd never know it to look at them
Hmm.
or to communicate. They are amazing mimics. And but the myna bird, from what I was told from this person who trained them, she goes, "It's a myna bird, one of the best talking birds in the world." I'm just like, African greys, they have like the memory of like an elephant. They don't forget anything. We've learned
Great.
that. We've learned that, yes. Cockatoos sit in the permanent stage of being a toddler. Had two of those actually. Again, one was really badly abused, so I completely rehabilitated her, got all of her feathers back in, taught her some really beautiful things to say, and she ended up going to a really good home. So, but I'll tell you, oh my God, it's a different world. Parrots are an entirely different world, and they're just so delightful.
Well, it
But
stands to reason why a crow is my totem if they're one of the exceptional talkers.
and they
I
just
never
go
shut up.
and go and go.
Oh man.
I came across this quote and I wanted to share it. It's the belief that animals are higher dimensional guardians. And there's a reason that animals are drawn to certain people. It's not coincidence, it's energy. They are higher dimensional guardians in physical form. They're deeply connected to the unseen world. Their presence on Earth is not random. They're here on assignment, which we found out with Wayne and Pixie. Most animals, especially dogs, cats, horses, dolphins, and birds, operate from a pure heart space. They are tuned into frequencies that most humans cannot perceive. They sense shifts in energy before we do. They know when someone is lying, when danger is near, when a soul is full of love. They feel your emotions and mirror your state of being. When a dog stares into your eyes for minutes without breaking contact, it's not just love, it's recognition. They see your soul. When a cat curls up beside you, every time you're in pain, it's not just affection, it's healing. They are moving energy, clearing blockages that you did not know you had. Animals do not judge by appearance, they read vibration. A wild animal will approach a child with a pure heart and run from an adult filled with anger. This is not instinct, it's divine intelligence. These creatures are here to protect the innocent, to calm the broken, and to remind us that the unconditional love and what it feels like. In the higher realms, animals serve as messengers, protectors, and guides. When we dream of them or encounter them in strange ways, it's often a spiritual sign. They are warning us, comforting us, or confirming something we already feel deep inside. Some say animals have no soul. It makes me crazy. Well, that, of course, is a lie. Many animals have more soul than the people walking this earth. Their souls are ancient and they remember the truth. They remember where we came from and why we're here. Some are even soul family who chose to incarnate as an animal form to stay by our side during this lifetime. If you've ever lost a beloved animal, you know that grief runs deeper than most people understand. That is because they were never just pets, they were guardians of your heart. When they pass on, their spirit often remains close, continuing to protect and guide you until your reunion in the next world. Animals are not lesser beings, they are masters of love. They don't need religion, politics, possessions. They teach simply by being. Their loyalty, sensitivity, and courage remind us of what we forgot, that this life is not about control, it's about connections. And the animals around you are not random gifts, they were sent. Treat them like the sacred guardians they are, because when the world turns cold and everything else falls away, it is their silent love that reminds us what is real. Tell me that is not just perfect.
It is perfect. It's totally perfect.
Yeah.
I
I
was
thought
going
so
through a
too.
really bad time with that, and I had my kid's cat, the
Mhm,
tabby cat Ollie, Mr. 25-pounder.
mhm.
And I just moved. It was just an upheaval in my life and all kinds of stuff. I would come home in the mornings and you'd hear this big crash upstairs, like boom, boom. And he'd come down
Yeah.
the stairs, bam, 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 bam. You sound like somebody walking down the stairs. The first couple of times it was quite unnerving. But he'd come in and jump up on the table, and then we'd bump heads, and he'd rub
Mhm.
his head against mine. And he didn't want food or anything. He just was saying good morning and welcome home. And I'd go to bed, and he'd hop up on the bed, and like he never did that. But while I was going through this really tough hardship, that cat would spoon me. Like he would just curl right in beside me, and he would purr and purr and purr. I would fall asleep to him purring. But once I kind of got over that, that few months of really agonizing hardship, he didn't do it anymore. He's still around and he's happy to see me, but boy, when I was hurting, boy, that cat was right there all the time. So yeah, they know. They absolutely know when their human is hurting.
They do. They absolutely do. And you know what? And I really noticed this, with our dogs as well, how they care for one another. And when my little chocolate dog when she was nearing the end of her life, she stopped breathing. She had congestive heart failure. Honestly, I revived that dog 6 times. And by the 7th, she wasn't having it. She was just done. But what alerted us to this, the very first time it happened, where realistically, it was our little white dog, because Pixie, no, I don't think Pixie was okay at that point. I think she had already started having problems. I can't recall, but this little white dog had taken on all of this responsibility, and she knew Peter wasn't right, so she just started.
She went off her nut bark. She never barks.
Oh no, never
but
barks.
that day, I knew there was something wrong because she was like screaming in the other room.
Oh yeah,
we ran in and Pete was on her side,
not breathing.
Yeah.
I scooped her up and I brought her back, and it was just like, wow. Like I was just completely gobsmacked. I'm just like, what just happened? Because Muffin was the quiet one.
Yeah, never made a peep. Nothing.
No,
she still doesn't. She only started barking recently in the last few months.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, like, for 6 weeks, that dog would not sleep because I had PETA with me, and I had learned that for her to sleep, she had to sleep on a solid surface, and she'd sleep on her stomach. If it was too soft of a surface, and I say solid, like a real firm pillow, her heart, it would just stop. Like, she just couldn't do it. So anyway, Muffin would be up all the time. That dog just sat there and watched her the whole night. And again, I had incidences where I had to revive her. And she just sort of became joined at the hip, literally, until she passed. And being at the vet, she fought and fought. They were trying to get a heart halter on her, and that wasn't going to be a thing. And the minute, literally, that she got in my arms, she threw herself at me. I held her, got in the car, drove away. Like this, she passed. Right? But in the same respect now, when Pixie was having a seizure, Muffin went crazy again, and I went running in and caught Pixie having a seizure. So Muffin had that responsibility still transferred, because now she was a matriarch and she was taking care of Pixie. So when we decided to get another dog, being Gracie, it was done because it was to give Muffin the time to be a pup, because Gracie was only 14 months old at that point. I'm like, okay, so she's full of shenanigans, and she's going to play. And Muffin started playing again, and she started being a pup again. And when Pixie passed, all of that weight of her having to be the matriarch and having to care for these animals who were older than her, it went away. Now she was the older one, and she got to, now she's just like living her life with Gracie. Even though she doesn't see very well, she still has a constant companion who keeps her excited, So it's interesting to watch that process.
It's funny with the two of them, because they'll play and play and play, and then when Muffin's had enough, she'll just go, not angry,
Don't
just
touch me.
A little grumble. The other one's like, okay, I get it. And back off, and
he does not want to be touched.
You're not touching me. But she's also the nursemaid for me anyway. Like, I'm always injuring my fingers and nicks and splinters and all kind. I get into bed, the first thing she does is check me out, check all my hands, my wrists, my forearms. Up and
She
down,
does.
like just paws and nose until she finds a little nick, and then that's it. She's there for 15 minutes taking care of that little nick.
I know. It's just insane how they work. But when you're looking at animals, how do they know when there's something wrong with you, when they know maybe you have an illness?
Hmm. Well, I've told you that one many times before about the woman who had a cat for years, and she was just sitting there reading a book, and the cat came up and growled at her, jumped up on her chest, and started biting her neck, like badly, and required stitches. It was deep, really bad. I had to go to the hospital, whole 9 yards. And
Mhm.
when they were looking at the wound, it was all kind of like blacky, yellowy garbage on the inside. The doctor said, "That's
Mhm.
not normal." And
Yeah.
they gave her a quick CAT scan while they were doing it, and then she had a tumor, and they were able to get it out. The cat knew that there was a tumor. Like, what's that about?
Now, like, how?
That's
How did they
crazy.
know?
That was like, to me, is one of my favorite,
Yeah.
spooky cat stories. It's wild.
Yeah. It is though. That's what I'm
Mm.
saying. Like this happens all the time. You can go find videos
I was gonna
of
say, yeah,
yeah, of animals being able to sense when there's something wrong,
yeah,
whether you're about ready to have a seizure, like Kat was saying, they'll go and they'll lay down with their person, or
yeah.
being able to detect, cancer or something isn't right, tumors, like they find them.
Like, I'm a car guy for years and years, and I watch different videos on repairs and things like that. But I just happened on this one. I thought it was a typical car repair thing, and
Yeah.
it was a guy working on his car, and this golden lab comes down, ripping out of the garage, and basically mounts the guy from behind. He's like, "What are you doing? Get off me!" Right? And the dog walks him literally forcibly away from the car, out of the garage, and he's like, "What are you doing? Let go of me!" Freaking out at the dog. Dogs have none of it. And just as soon as the guy's out of the garage, the entire front of the car blows up. There's flames everywhere. It's like, huh, how did the dog know and know what to do? Man, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I think we watched a few of those videos, and one was a
Fascinating.
woman who was leaving the front door and she was heading out to their car, and her dog spun out around her, turned her around, started pushing her back towards the door. And she's just like, come on. You can see she's trying to fumble with the dog, pull him into the house. And then all of a sudden, this huge tree branch drops onto the car and crushes the top of the car. And
Flattened
she
it.
froze and hugged the dog. Like, how do you know?
Mm-hmm.
How do
I'd be
they
dead.
know? Yeah, right.
I'd
No,
be
but
dead.
yeah, that they do, they know. And look at the guy who was about ready, he goes out to start the barbecue
Oh
up
yeah,
on the deck, and the dog just hauls off and just boots him down to the other side of the deck,
yeah. And
and it
the whole
exploded.
barbecue blows up. It takes part of the deck with it.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, animals and premonition like that is incredible.
Yeah,
Like they know. You see all these little kids playing, and a big shelf is coming down. One was a TV, and this dog grabs a child, just this toddler, and just, he throws himself on top of them, or
yeah,
because I've seen different videos, or they move the child, kick the child out of the way, literally, and they fall under. This case was the TV. Another case with the shelf, the dog was
yeah,
over the child, and held up that shelf until the owners came running in
yeah.
to
The dog
remove
held
it.
up the
Like,
weight of it. That's right.
God, it's just when they say animal heroes, they really are. And and let's talk about this crazy sense. Let's talk about the homing device. Like that
Oh
they're
yeah,
built in.
that's nuts. People say, oh, they follow magnetic north, they follow the ley lines, and yeah, to a certain degree. But like, I watch things about families that move states or provinces, and they move into a new house. They
Mm,
have no homing signal. There is no homing. They've never been there before. And
mm,
this dog or cat will go, 1,000 miles or more and finish up at the owner's front door at a place they've never been before. Like,
yeah.
how does that even work? Like, I can't find my way around my own city, much less that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
You see it
Mm-mm.
happen all the time. Like this isn't something new. Like they have this incredible sense of just being able to like a homing device, and maybe we're the homing device. Maybe we're the ones that emit this energy that they feel drawn to.
But even that's fantastic because that means our energy is traveling thousands of miles in every direction for that animal to tune in on and use it like a beacon and follow it to us.
Yeah,
Incredible. We know nothing.
yeah.
The more I know, the less I know. That's all I know.
I know. It's just,
It's
I
just unreal. It's unreal to me.
the animal world is so incredible. Kat says, I moved into a new house in Alberta a few years ago. Our dog Molly kept trying to get my attention to go to the basement. I then clued in, followed her. My basement was flooding due to heavy rain at the time.
See, they heard it.
Yeah.
They knew what was going on. I mean, look at that cat. Look at Sean. I moved into the manor house and he was living under the veranda. He was beat. This cat was beat. Missing pieces, all kinds of stuff.
Hmm.
And like I set him up a shelter outside 'cause he's a stray. I don't know what he's got, right? So I set him up a beautiful shelter outside with a heat lamp and water and food. I remember one winter night I came out and he came out to see me. I got him his food and set him all up, loved him all up, and I went to go in the house. He just looked at me as like, you know, I just don't want to be out here anymore. Can't you just bring me in? And it was just that look on his face. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? I'm an idiot. Oh my God, I'm gonna regret this. He's gonna tear up my house. And I brought him in and I set him up a litter box and a little bed, and he just curled up in it, used the litter box, and then he went to sleep. And that was it. Like he was a content little guy. And the vet said, oh, if you get a year out of him, you'll be lucky. And he lived 7 years. And even his ghost hung around after a while. He was a monkey, but he was such a good cat. I could throw him over my shoulder. He was just awesome, just an awesome cat. No one ever said that was a stray cat. Like, oh yeah, he was. But he knew the meaning of life and how hard it was. He really knew it.
Yeah. They're so aware, and they mourn as well. Like, I remember when I had a Bengal named Jasper. And Bengals have this thing where sometimes they could die very suddenly, and it's this mystery. I remember talking to my vet about it. It goes, it's one of these unexplained things. They don't really know why it happens. I had talked to somebody after his passing. It goes, it happened exactly 2 years old to a friend of mine. So it seems to be the magic number. So my daughter-in-law comes running up to me at one point and just says, she goes, she was crying. She goes, he just stopped breathing. And he had passed. Like, she caught him just as he just down. That's it. And just fell and he was done. And I tried, I'm like, okay, does he have an obstruction down his throat? I go doing mouth to mouth because I know how to resuscitate, obviously, because with the dog. Okay. But anyway, no way. There's no way that just wasn't happening. But he and her cat had bonded. Like, Alice was she was only a few months old, and Jasper was, he's probably closer to a year old. They were so bonded that Alice just laid on that carpet in that spot for a straight week. They were really worried. Like, she wasn't eating very much. She would not leave that spot. We tried to remove the carpeting because it was just like an area rug. She would not leave that spot. That's where the energy released. That's where it departed. That's whatever it was. She was well aware of it. So that put me into this decision of, hence Dexter. So not so fond of
Yeah.
Dexter, also a
No.
Bengal. Yeah, she wasn't having it. Dexter, being younger, loved Alice. Alice did not reciprocate, and she never did. She was so bonded to Jasper, I think she never bonded to another cat at all. It was never for a lack of trying, but she was so sad. She just could not come out of it, and was just like, my gosh, the grieving was just so intense. I'd never seen that before, that in an animal.
No. They do go through that for sure when they lose one of their own.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So, you make that decision, and we get animals because we love them, and we care for them. They become part of our family, and then you suffer loss. And I mean, when I think of all the pets that I've had, it's just been like, how you think, oh, how often do you want to just keep going through it? Because it hurts. It really does. And then I think to myself, there's so many though. There's so many that need
Mm.
homes. And just like Pixie,
Yeah.
just like Muffin, just like I had, this little girl named Bella. And when I adopted her, she was she had been so badly treated. She was kept in a hamster cage, if you can imagine. I mean, a small hamster cage, because she was a tiny little chihuahua, and so malnourished that her body started eating away its own muscle mass.
That's
It took
dreadful.
me 3 years just to get her to want to leave her bed and run around and follow the other dogs around. She was always that timid and scared. It took a lot of rehabilitation work with her, So they are little gems, without a doubt. When Sam passed away, I took some of his fur because we got him cremated. I got our dog Willow and our cat Nui to smell the fur. They took their time to sniff, and they were okay. Aw.
Yeah.
White cat, blue eyes, was deaf. I also had a white cat with blue eyes who was deaf. Bella, after Bella Lugosi. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mine was called Attila, and he was a boob. He's just crazy.
I know an Attila boob also.
I know. I know.
Mhm.
Anyway, with that being said,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I think I love the whole concept of animals choosing their person. And I think the bond starts long before we even know,
Yeah, I think so too.
before we even know it. Next thing you know, we've got these amazing little critters who just end up, they're like your fur babies, members of your family, people who just think, animals have no, um, uh, hey, Kevin, animals are not sentient. I can't even imagine that. How you can look into the eyes of animals and not see complete love, most
Mhm.
unconditional love you will ever have would be from an animal, because people have done atrocious things to them and they've still
Yeah.
been loyal.
Yeah.
People just don't,
They
you
don't get it.
don't, they don't.
They don't get it.
No, I
You know, I'll tell
saw,
you.
no, you go ahead.
I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine, he had a beautiful Doberman, and he lived on a big property. And this thing was this friendly. You could drive up, and this dog come bounding down at you, lick your face, and just he loved everyone. Just absolutely loved everyone. And then he met a guy, and they were going to do some deck work, do the deck work on the back of the house. So he drove up in the pickup truck, and that dog went ballistic. Like Steve had to put the leash on the dog, had to drag the dog away, dog's teeth out, like frothing,
Mm,
just freaking out. And Steve was just like, I don't know what's wrong with the dog. We put it away. And so we put the dog in the house and came back out, apologized to the guy. And the guy's like, it's not the dog, it's me. The guy went, no, it's not you. It's something wrong with the dog. No, it's me. He's like, I used to work as a young man, teenager. I worked at a slaughterhouse for years.
mm,
And I was the one that put the slug into the animal's head. And he goes, everywhere I go, every animal I ever meet knows that about me, because
wow.
every animal reacts exactly like your dog just did, without fail.
Wow.
And tell me
See,
that
that's
guy's not
crazy.
marked with energy, right? That's crazy. And he says, as soon as that guy drove away, the dog was perfectly all right. But as long as he was on the property, the dog was at the window freaking out.
Wow. Yeah,
So
see, that's crazy. The animals know.
they do know.
They just know, you know. But would you like I said, I remember seeing this video of an elephant, and um the mother had been shot, and
Mhm.
you saw this tiny little elephant crying. I mean, it was wailing, and it had tears in its eyes, and I'm like, anybody looks at that says there's no soul there.
Oh, the fools.
That's exactly what you want to do, because it's the purest form, like they mourn They mourn, they grieve, they're so loyal, they know, they heal. It's what, people, again, in hospitals or, old age homes, people bring their pets.
Yeah.
And you just see it heals people. The elderly people get so excited when people come in with their little dogs or cats that they can just hold and cuddle, and they're just totally different. Like
One
there've
of
been. Yeah,
one of the
go.
old age homes has a horse at the old age home. It's a one floor old age home, and the horse comes around and visits all the patients on a daily basis, and the improvement's incredible in their morale.
Yeah. See? A horse.
Love
That's
it.
awesome though.
I
I
love
love
it. And
that.
so I read that. I'm like, you can't, they showed a picture of it. Like, that's great. I just love that.
Yeah.
That's so good. So good.
It is. I think it's great. I think it's great. There are people even on their deathbeds, who've just asked to see their pets, and the pets get brought in, and
Hmm.
they go with such peace. And in the same breath, you have had animals who have just camped out on their owners' graves.
Yeah.
When they go,
Yeah. It's
they
wild.
won't leave them,
They won't leave them.
Yeah, I think it is so sad, the amount of love and loyalty that goes beyond being a sentient
Hmm.
being. That it's just complete unconditional love and loyalty.
Yeah. Well, look at the story with my mom and her cat, Smokey. Like, my mom
Yes.
went into an extended care facility that didn't allow animals for whatever reason at that time, and my mom wasn't well enough to care for one at that time. So the cat went to her best friend. And one day, like, my sister was going to see my mom. She went every day. And my mom got up and she realized the cat was gone. The cat was dead. Right.
Mm.
And so my sister gets a phone call from the best friend and said, listen, let you know that Smokey passed this morning, not doing very well, and passed away. The vet couldn't revive it. So that's the end of that, right? So, okay, I'll let mom know. So she's thinking to herself as she's going into the extended care that, oh, this is going to be a hard conversation. Mom's not going to do well with this at all. So she comes in. She's, hi, Mom, how are you doing? And my mom looks at her. She says, oh, not very well today. And she goes, well, why aren't you very well? And she goes, well, Smokey passed away last night. And my sister's like, well, how do you know that Smokey passed away? Well, she came to see me in the middle of the night. She woke me up to tell me that she was on the other side and that she was fine and not to worry about me. Right. And, and
Aw.
Christine was like, well, what did Smokey sound like? She goes, well, she sounded like a middle-aged woman. you know and
Wow.
so Christine's like, oh, that's good. How you feel? I'm okay. Cat's fine. Smokey says she's fine. My sister leaves, goes down to the nursing station. Okay, who's in this morning? No one. Who called my mom this morning? No one. Like, nobody had talked to my mother. Like, the cat came from the other side to say goodbye to her mom.
Aw. I think that's beautiful. It is.
That's
That's
wild.
beautiful.
Well, that's wild.
So again, it's the same idea, like I guess when you reincarnate as animals, like what the quote that I had read, um, about animals being guardians, and there's a whole lot of ancient stuff with that maybe we'll talk about next week if there's time. But
Cool.
um, like you can reincarnate back into an animal, so you can be with your people as they reincarnate and they return. I think it's like amazing that they do that.
Man, I wouldn't want to reincarnate in this plane of existence as a critter. It's hard enough being a bipedal here. I just can't imagine. It's so cruel. Such a hard place.
It is, but if they come from a place of higher dimension, I think it would be even harder to be here
You
when you come
think?
from this. Yeah, I know. I know.
Can't even imagine. Can't even imagine it. You know?
Yeah. Well, you come back as any little critter makes it hard. I mean, there's some that are even lower down the food chain as far as, you know, the predators go. I mean,
Yeah.
last very long in some cases.
No.
I think it's very sad because animals end up, being on the other end of abuse so often. And you see it when you're doing animal rescue and pet rescue.
Yeah.
You see the harm that's done, and one of the little dogs, Daisy, who you just loved, when I had Daisy,
Yeah. Daisy's cute.
it's not like she came from an abusive place,
No.
she came, like, when I said, "No, I'll take her," because she needed a home, and I said, "Can you please bring a little blanket or toy from home?" She goes, "Oh, well, why?" "I don't know, it might make her transition go a little easier," and that woman just handed her to me, like, without any care, and that little dog just watched her owner walk away, and she was devastated.
Hmm.
I thought to myself, "You cow." There was not even a goodbye.
No.
She just gave me the bag, goes, "Oh, her blanket and toys in there," and I'm going, "Okay, thank you." My daughter was with me, because she was going to comfort, her all the way home, and she goes, what a cold transition." She goes, "I don't ever I mean, I get it, sometimes you just have to go, 'Okay, here you go,' and just walk away." It's because it's too hard to do it, but it wasn't the case with this person. There you could see there was just no connection. She wasn't upset about it at all.
No. There's
I mean,
animal people, then there's not animal people, and that's a hard division line, but that's fact.
people deal differently, and I kept trying to tell myself that because you know what? People deal with things differently. But that little dog just really had a difficult time. Like, it's just like I don't it's like she really struggled with even trying to make a connection
Hmm.
with the rest of us, you know? It was just very, very, it was very, very sad because it was something that, I hope I don't see a whole lot. And I'm sure it does happen. And it's just why it's so difficult, like with Pixie. Like, I'm glad you're just kind of like, she working so hard, we just can't
Yeah,
let her
well,
go.
she was.
Because she did work really hard, and it's nice to keep them all, but
Oh yeah.
unfortunately, it can't be done. And I know myself, so I figured, oh, I don't know if it's something I could do again because I couldn't.
No. I mean, I couldn't give one up. I mean, I just, once they were mine, it's like I could not. I'd have to be on my deathbed to give something up. There's no way.
Yeah,
It would break my heart.
yeah. And when you come to know her the way that you did, when you come to know her and all the stuff you find out after the fact, how she chose you, and she
Hmm.
came all this way for
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you know, that was very
yeah.
interesting.
I had stuff to learn, and she was going to be the teacher,
And she did.
and she did. Oh, she did. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, the most beautiful markings, beautiful ears on her. Like I would hold her
Yeah.
like a baby. I'd put her on her back and cradle her in my arms. I walked around, and I'd be like, "Who's my angel?" And she'd come up and lick my nose and put her head back down and just cuddle. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm just so in love with this dog.
It's true, it's true, and her favorite toy was a stuffed chicken leg, squeaky
Yep,
thing.
squeaky thing. Yeah,
She just loved
best
that
thing
bloody
ever.
thing. I
Yeah.
know. I just want run around with this chicken leg in her mouth. It was bigger than her
Well, you'd
head.
throw it 3 times. Three was it. She'd chase it 3 times, then she'd bring it back to the bed, then she wouldn't let you have it. So
She
then when you're
had
just going
it,
to throw it
yeah.
again, she'd put her paw over it and put her mouth on it, and she would just stay there. Like, you're not getting a chicken leg. I'm not chasing it anymore.
That's it. Alright, I played with you. Now
Yeah,
that it's
that's
out of
it.
your system, I'm gonna take my chicken leg and go wander off.
Oh yeah,
She
she
was
is.
she
Yeah,
was
she
so
was.
hilarious. She was so hilarious. She was just a little ray of sunshine, to say the very least, you
Yep,
know?
still is. I still talk to her in the mornings when I'm getting the dogs breakfast and stuff. I'm
Mhm,
cleaning the dishes away. I always say hi to her and how are you
mhm,
doing? And I miss you and I hope you're well. You
mhm.
know. So
Yeah. While we're talking about incredible animals, you have to look at animals who rescue. You've got these Saint Bernards who are built, to go to the mountains, especially through the snow, to help do rescues. We have like dogs that just go in to rescue people from buildings. You saw that a lot with when the towers went down. You saw these animals being brought in, and again this incredible ability to be able to smell and to find it. And when you know how animals are and how much they love and how loyal they are, and this is a question for you guys out there, I tend to wonder how would finding so many deceased people, how would that affect them? Knowing animals the way you know them, even though they're trained for it, like bloodhounds, trained to do certain things and find missing people, and a lot of these recovery dogs are the same way. And I can't imagine what that would do to their spirit.
I don't think it would, because they are functioning on a higher level than what we are. They can identify the body, but it's like you always say, like the body's parked in the garage, you've gone inside. They already
Mhm.
know the spirit has left. They
Yeah.
can probably see the spirit. It's so many memes out there of cats looking in a closet, and people are like, what do you see, a mouse? There's the spirit there looking back out, right? But I think the animal, I don't think it would be affected emotionally like we are, because they can connect beyond the physical.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets to be, it can be, but there's still that element, where there is no energy, and death has a certain smell about it,
Hmm.
you
It
know?
does, but they like I think the animals, they they connect to our physical, but I think they connect to our essence. And if
Mm,
they come across someone, a cadaver dog, right,
mhm,
they would find the remains. The essence is gone. That's it.
yeah,
It might be different if they were looking for their owner and found their owner dead. That would
mhm.
be an
That
emotional
would be
trauma for
difficult.
the physical being. But if they're coming upon a bunch of bones or a crushed body under concrete, they would be just like, yeah, it's here,
Mhm.
because they know the
Yes.
essence is already gone.
Yeah. To me, God, it's just so depressing, but you know what? There again, many gifted animals out there. And, I love the stories. Um, and I look at how this comment is what makes me think of this. I volunteered at our local shelter and couldn't believe how many people brought their pets in because they were just simply tired of them.
Yeah.
And, I get life happens, circumstances happen. I mean, people who just let them out, because I know I owned one of those dogs. I owned a German Shepherd who I was asked to take in from a shelter because it had been dumped off. And it's sad. It's sad for the animal, because any of them will take your dogs. You just bring them, you know. Um, and it turned out that this dog had been taken at some point, and it was a retired police dog. Smart as a bloody whip. And how do we find out that she was a retired police dog? Because she was probably 11, and she was looking at being like, the shelters were just not couldn't keep her. And I went, yeah, well, I'll take her and she can live out her life happy, because there were police officers doing a spot check not far from our property, and they had the door of the cruiser open, and the dog hightailed it out, could not be contained at all, not within fencing, nothing. She just loved, she would stay. She was very, very well trained. And she ran into the back of the cruiser, and the police officer started giving her German commands. And they brought her back. I got a call, first of all, saying, "We have your dog." I'm like, "How? Dog's in the backyard." And they walked her up and they said, "How did you get this dog?" And I'm just like, she'd been dumped off, and I had a Humane Society asked me to take her because she was on the kill list. And they're like, "She's a retired police dog." I'm just like, "You find the owner, she should be chipped." Apparently, that chip wasn't, they could not get the chip. It just wasn't working. And I'm like, how does it just stop working? Like, nothing lined up for this poor dog.
Mm.
Right. And eventually she passed. She was old, and she was so smart. And my daughter at the time was just this tiny little baby. And I'll tell you, she would even squeak. That dog was just completely right over her. What's wrong? What's wrong? And when she was in her little cradle, like her little chair, travel chair, the dog would completely curl around the whole chair with the baby in there. You couldn't get near her. Just, I could get near her. So I was her mom, but it's
Nobody
just
else getting close to that kid.
no, no. But it shows you just how brilliant they are. But you know what? This happens so much, and I'm such a suck for those animal videos, and animals who have been picked up and they've been sitting in a shelter, sitting in a shelter. Meanwhile, the owners are just looking for them and looking for them. And when you see, the owner come into a shelter and they find the dog, this dog couldn't believe it. He just came in, he stopped, he stared at his owner, he started crying and just ran into his owner's arms and just so happy. And I'm almost in tears going, oh my God, I can't take it. It's just like one of those success stories.
Yeah.
And it's the same for these animals when they realize they've been adopted. They just sit there quietly in the car, or they're sad, or they just sit next to the person who's thinking of getting them, and then you can see over a period of 2 days, 3 days, how they start coming out of their shell. And it's just like they're so grateful, and you just see it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at my friend Derek, right? Like, I met Derek when I was running the motorcycle shop, and he was a bit older than me. And one day he showed up and to help me spin bolts, and he had a sleeveless shirt on, and I saw these paw prints, tattoos on his arms. And I said, "Oh, Derek, what's with the tattoos on your arms?" And he goes, "Oh," he says, I rescue collies, old collies, ones that nobody wants." And he says, "I rescue them. They come to my house, and I keep them in the last years of their life. I give them a life. I give them food and water. I play with them. I take them for walks." And he says, "When they pass, I get a tattoo artist to put a paw print on my arm." And he pulled his shirt back, and the paw prints went up across his chest and down his back. And I was like, "Holy man, is that like 4 prints for every dog?" He's like, "No, mate." He goes, "1 print for every dog." I'm like, "There's got to be 24 of them." He's like, "I've had a lot of dogs." He goes, "Some
Wow.
last 6 months, some last 4 years. They're all old collies that nobody wants." It's like, ooh, I love you, man.
I know. I know. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Oh my gosh. See, that's just but those are the people that it's just huge kudos to, because it does take a special person to bring them in and see them through difficult times. Like with Pixie, we always thought, oh boy, like she found us because she knew we would care for her. That she would get the absolute best care, best food, best meds, best everything, because all of our pets did. My animals always did. And to find out in the end, no, she wasn't here because you needed to be there for her. She was here for him.
Yeah, apparently so.
Wow, but it's it's not even just animals. We had a parrot called Samantha. They named her Sammy because they thought it was a boy. And when I got her, and it's hard with cockatoos, you can't always tell, but there are hints. So unless if you don't DNA test, and I looked, and she had brown eyes. The males have the black eyes, and she was an umbrella cockatoo. I went, "Oh, you're a Samantha bird," and she'd look at you and say, "Hi, Sammy." And I go, "You're just full of shenanigans." Anyway, she was given up because her people had a baby, and cockatoos are allowed. And I get it. That child would be scarred for life, but it's very difficult. So they went through proper channels, and she made her way to me, and she took to my son. So when my son turned 10, he asked for one thing. "All I want is Sammy." I went, "Oh no." I was going to have this toddler in my life forever, because they're in toddler brain all the time. And oh my gosh, she loved him so much. I remember coming home late one night after doing some event, and he was asleep on the couch. She was asleep on his shins. And she was just asleep. I walk in, she sticks her head up. She was just laid there asleep. What kind of a bird does that? She just laid right on top of him while he slept. And she goes, "Hi, Sammy." And I go, "Shh." And she goes, "Hi, Sammy." So she started whispering. She fully understood. So I came up and I said, "Let's go to bed." And I put my hand up and she came up and went to her cage. And I said, "Love you." She goes, "Bye." She whispered the whole time. But yet when she wanted, when she wanted attention, it was like she'd bark like a dog. And finally I just yelled up to my son, said, "Come and get your dog." This bird won't stop, right? But when she passed away, which was a condition that some cockatoos get, um, you know, tried everything, but when it's there, it's there. It's a behavioral thing. So unfortunately, she did pass. And I had mediums start messaging me saying, there's this sweet little bird, not bird, just they thought twice that it was a child named Samantha. And I'm going,
Child named Samantha. That's right.
I'm like, what does Samantha look like? I made them think about that, right? And they're like, oh, that would be a bird. So it just goes to show, like they just thanks, Kat. They bond to you, and she loved him so much that one of these mediums stopped in the middle of a reading and sent me messages. Okay, Samantha is totally butting in on this reading. Who is Samantha? A cockatoo. What? The bird is butting in on a reading. The bird is butting in on the reading. So they have a powerful presence, a very powerful presence.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I just love animal stories. We've had so many because we've just rescued so many. But getting into, wildlife a little bit, connections to different wildlife. I've had connections to wolves.
Yeah.
I could go hiking, 8 years old, 9 years old. Back then you could do that. And I would just sit and I could see my house from the top of the mountain. And I sat there with this wolf right on the mountain right beside me. We both just sat there. We just looked at each other. I threw it over an apple. It was just bizarre, and people are just like, oh, you'd be really careful. Yeah, I get that. But somehow, like that little part that I read about animals seem to know the innocence of a child as opposed to an adult who may do harm. Right. So this happened when I was about 8. And when I was about 14, 13, ended up on this class trip. Actually, no, I was probably about 13, 14. And it was just like a private zoo, right? And they had Arctic wolves there. Yeah. So me being the defiant one, they weren't really protected. Like there wasn't a double, like a fence and the enclosure. So I go up and this female wolf comes up and she's just like rubbing against the cage. So I'm putting my hand up against the cage because I was just ridiculous, whatever. Now I'd probably just like, get the child away. But, back then, not being a thinker, so I started slowly just wedging my hand in and just patting her. And she kept rubbing against my hand and she'd rub her face against my hand. And the owners are trying to come over. Like, they're bolting over to me and they're just kind of like, okay. And I'm just like completely calm. This animal is completely calm, and so sort of yanked me out of there. And only after they pulled me did the wolf get agitated.
Yeah, see. It liked your energy. That was all there was to it.
Well, because I love wolves.
Of course.
We had them around growing up. So I didn't really have a natural fear, maybe of certain predators I should have had.
They knew who the apex predator was in that situation.
Either way,
yeah, they know who the queen is.
Come on. Whatever.
Don't give me the whatever. They know animals sense. We just got through this whole topic of understanding your essence and where it comes from.
Blah. Yeah,
whatever.
But I love stories. wild animals. I love stories of um, dolphins. Dolphins seem to have this knack, especially like if a woman is pregnant, they go in and they circle around and they protect. They just circle around if the woman is swimming. Like they just get on high alert and they feel that this need to protect this
Yeah.
female and this baby, this little life inside, and they don't, like they just protect them.
There was a diver out, I can't remember where it was, but there was a huge whale, big gray whale,
Mhm.
came up and it kept pushing her. And they're not aggressive. And this thing she kept trying to swim out and it'd go around and come back and put its head under her and just lift her up and push her back towards the boat. And I said, what's with this whale? And there was an orca, a big killer whale, just beyond.
Oh, trying to
That pushed her,
protect her.
yeah, just pushed her back to the boat until she got out of the water, and then she could see the orca further out. It's like, oh. But the gray whale knew it. Came in to
Wow.
save her from that.
See, that's beautiful.
It is. But I was lost one time driving my bike. I told you the story a few times before, but like I said, the crow's my totem, and I was completely lost. It was kind of foggy, looked like rain, and I was cutting through the back roads trying to get back, and I was way out of my element. Like I was traveling through the U.S., coming back up, and I was like, where am I? I don't even know where I'm at, and I'm coming along, and there's a great big crow sitting on one of the road signs, which said like, next exit, Highway 89, whatever. And I'm just like, I never see crows sitting on a road sign like ever. Like I'll take it and see what happens, right? So I banked off. As I'm banking off the ramp, there's another one sitting on the curve sign. I'm like, that's different. And I got on the 89. I'm driving along, and I look up ahead, and there's two of them sitting on one of those overpass signs, telling you what city you're going to and stuff. And I saw crows on all the signs everywhere I went until I realized where I was. And I didn't see any more crows.
Oh, wow.
Like they followed me and made sure I got where I needed to go. Like it's just wild.
It is.
Coincidence, or are they really
I
my
don't
totem
believe in
looking after the
coincidences.
simpleton,
Yeah, I don't
We got to
believe in
watch this
coincidence.
simpleton here. He's lost.
He's lost. We got to get him home.
We got to get him home. He's
Yeah.
the special one.
Yes. I think it's, we'll talk more about crows and ravens and such next week for
Yeah.
part 2, because we don't have a whole lot of time left. But I'll tell you, like, we grew up with ravens on our property. We had 4
Bragger.
huge pine trees, spruce trees. And they were, oh my God, they were just so nice to have. And it was nice to have them there because they're messengers between worlds. And if I grew up in that house, and that house was absolutely beyond active. I mean, if you've watched, any of my interviews I've never really talked much about everything that's happened to me, but I did one time, and it was on my Paranormal Nightmare. If you catch it, it's the only time I've ever told the story in its entirety. And I think back now, and I'm like, I wonder if that's why they chose this property, being messengers, between the veils and protectors and such.
Well, probably because they knew the queen was there.
Well,
Laugh it off if you want. Laugh it off if you want.
I have her anyway. But I think about things like that. I think it's that they're quite extraordinary. I remember having a friend saying, she had to go to this one location and she was very nervous about it. And I said, okay. I said, I'll send you some help. Like, I'll just send you something, just a bit of protection, And she basically was on the phone with me at that point. And she said, oh my God. She goes, you're never going to believe this. She goes, but my entire view between me and this location, because she was walking through a trail, are all crows. She goes, they've completely blocked my view, because she had to walk by this location to get where she needed to go. And she goes, they completely have obstructed my view. All of these crows. And she goes, and I flipped around and I went down a different path. She goes, and then everything just disappeared because I was away from this location, this one place she did not want to see.
Crows get a bad rap, and they really don't deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I agree. They're brilliant. They're highly intelligent. They are messengers, and there's so much behind all of it. I'm really looking forward to getting into more of a deep dive with all of that because I've only done a show on it one time a few years back, and I had so much fun, and there was just so much more I could have added, but the time was so limited to where I could actually discuss it. But you know what? Throughout ancient times, ravens and crows have been really highly revered.
Mm-hmm.
Birds in general.
Yeah, birds in general. I was going to say they are. My dad told me a story when he was back in England. They lived in the farmlands, and he had said that he met one of the older farmer guys up there, and they were talking, and he said to him, he says, why do you have all the crows out in your field? Don't they eat your crops? He goes, oh, they can eat my crops. He goes, they don't eat enough of my crops to worry about. He goes, I shot one once. I shot a crow once. And he said, when I went to pick it up, he said there was so many destructive bugs inside that crow's stomach that those bugs would have cleaned my field clean. Right? He goes, after I saw that, I said, no, you can have as many crows on my property as you want because they do more good than harm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
He told me that story when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old and stuck with me.
Wow.
Probably because I got a crow mentality, 7 years old, right?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think it's really great. The animal world is filled with miracles, and they're filled with incredible stories, incredible folklore. There's so much to it, and the ancients knew so much back then. You talk to indigenous people, they'll tell you, no, like Thunderbird, they'll give you stories of all these incredible beings out in the nature world. And I'll tell you, we are so clueless as a society.
It's all been taken away from us. It's all our knowledge, all our connection with the planet, with nature, that has been systematically removed from us.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong.
Without a doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that it's been stripped away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It makes the most sense. I mean, we're talking about these animals who are here from higher dimensionals. They're guardians. Their presence here, like they're on assignment. They remember who they are. They knew who they are, where they come from. And here we are going, we're just trying to figure it out.
That's because the animals don't go to conventional schools and get told a history that's made up. They just arrive in the raw, and they remember everything that was given to them from the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Not like us daft buggers.
No. Guys, this was a really great segment. Really wanted to do something lighthearted tonight, and it's more lighthearted than just talking about how amazing animals are. They have incredible intuition. They just know when danger is there. They know when you're sick. They know how to heal you. They know how to guide you. People, before I go, I have one more quick horse story when I think about, horses and healing. I had many years ago, I really tried to find this photo. And if I can find it before the next show, I will show it. And she said she had a very strong bond with a horse of hers. The horse had passed. And all of a sudden she got this spectral image. And she sent it to me along with a picture of the horse. Without a doubt, it was the horse. It had this big, beautiful white, marking on its nose. And she goes like, he's never left me. And it was just beautiful. And, as they come back in spirit, oh my gosh, I love the stories that just show that they love us in life, and they continue to stay with us through their afterlife until we can meet them again. So I'm going to leave it right there because it's just a really beautiful ending. And I will see you guys next week. Next week is going to be an awesome week. And Monday, make sure you guys catch me on Ira Wolfenson's channel called Pitbulls of the Lord, Spiritual Warfare. And we're going to be talking about the mystery of wandering souls and ghosts. So, and this is going to be from a very unusual standpoint. It's going to be just wonderful. She's highly versed. My God, if you guys haven't seen any of her shows, please go. She's got 3 archives on the Outer Realm YouTube page, and they are amazing. This woman is amazing. Start with the first one so you get a sense of who she is. Anyway, Tuesday Beyond the Outer Realm is going to be loads of fun. Welcomes Nicholas Pearson. He's going to be talking about his book, The Witching Stones, the lore and craft of the essential 14 crystals, gemstones, and minerals to empower your magic. Oh, I love it. This is going to be awesome. Wednesday, super fun. Welcoming DJ Jimmy and Jared King from Spooky Appalachia. And we're going to be really getting into some wild tales. They've had incredible collection of stories that get sent into them. And, Jared was saying, he grew up in a cabin in the Appalachians, listening to tales of his elders and, the stuff. That's all I'm going to say. You don't want to miss the show. It's going to be amazing. And of course, Thursday, where we do part 2 and we start getting into familiars and totems and, old folklore and all kinds of strange old tales and such. So we will be continuing this, and it's going to be a whole boatload of fun. So in the meantime, guys, have a terrific weekend. Please catch me on Monday. I'll try to get a link and post it to her channel. Go show her some love and check us out 6 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. And the whole rest of the week is just going to be loads of fun. So thank you. Much love to you all. Thank you all for being awesome.
Right,
and good night.